Good morning. This is Cecil in Blues. Thank you for joining me for the first episode of my Darkest Dungeon Let's Play series. I have not played Darkest Dungeon in a very long time, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. First, if you are unfamiliar with Darkest Dungeon, it is a dungeon crawling RPG where you are the heir to an opulent estate which is, to put it mildly, in a bit of disrepair, and also overrun with eldritch horrors, the likes of which mankind has never seen. Our goal is to hire a team of mercenaries to clear out these monsters and to recover riches to rebuild our estate. The tone is incredibly bleak. It's extremely dark, as the name might imply. Our mercenaries are going to die. There is permanent death, so if a mercenary dies, they are gone forever. They will be slowly going insane and developing personality quirks that we will have to deal with. And you'll see that as we work through the game if you have not experienced it before. As we start this series, I'll spend the first couple of episodes explaining elements of the game as they appear, as though you hadn't seen it before. If you have, don't worry, after a couple episodes, I'm going to just start playing the game. It actually won't be long before I'm facing things that I'm completely unfamiliar with. I haven't played Darkest Dungeon since February of 2015, which is, I think, the first stage of its early access. I might have still been looking at it into the second phase, but I had about 10 hours into it in that period, and I had faced, I think, the first 2 bosses, perhaps. I remember fighting a guy who had a little piglet with him, but if you know what that is, then you know about my experience with the game. There have been a ton of changes and additions that have been made over the last year, so I'm going to be completely surprised by those things for the most part. Now, what do I mean by for the most part? Well, I did start a run yesterday, but there were uncorrectable audio issues with the recording, and then I went to the dentist, and they drilled the hell out of my teeth, and then I slept the rest of the day. So I am starting today a new save, and we're going to wipe out the old save, and we're going to go ahead and just start fresh. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and just clear that, and we're going to start a new one. Again, Darkest, Cecil in Blues. That's me. Whoops. Clearly, I'm not that experienced with the game. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and skip the cutscenes because, in addition to hopefully having the volume set to a point where the game audio is not too up in your face, I don't want to spoil it if you want to spoil it, I guess. I don't know. Spoilers isn't really the right term. I also just don't want to sit here for 3 minutes while the cutscene plays out that I've seen before. Alright, so when you jump in to the game, you will be put into this tutorial map. There's only two rooms in this map, and it kind of gives you an introduction to how movement works. We can walk back and forth in this room, but there's not a lot going on in here. We click on the other room on the map to progress to it, and we will have to walk through the hallway to do it. And you can see the little torch on the map. It's showing where we are. In the second square, we have encountered an enemy. And this is the tutorial. It always works this way in the tutorial. But in the future, we are going to be encountering random dungeons that are totally unique. Each hero has a set of skills. And the first 2 heroes are Renaud and Demos, and their skills are set. You can see when I mouse over a skill, that there are 2 sets of pips. On the left side, there are white pips, and on the right side, there are red pips. The white pips indicate what column in your party out of 4 you have to be standing in order to use the ability, and on the right side, the red pips indicate what row the enemy has to be standing in order for you to hit them. So Demos's abilities Renaud's abilities are all front row, front 1 and 2 spots that hit 1 and 2 spots. So he's an upfront melee character, and we'll just finish off this guy. No problem there. And you can see each of the skills here, they have a base accuracy, 85, 85, 90%, and no target, because this is a self-buff. Demos's abilities, he's got an 85% melee attack, he's got an 85% ranged attack, he's got an 80% AoE attack. So, you know, you're not guaranteed to hit. And we have a torch up here at the top. Can't really do much with that at the moment. Interactable objects. We came upon this tent. We can press a button to interact with it. And whoever you have highlighted, so right now, Renaud will go through it. We can change to Demos and have him root through it. And you can mitigate risk that way. In this case, it just had valuables in it, but sometimes there's traps, sometimes certain characters have a better chance of success with objects, like if it's a library bookshelf, maybe a more, I don't know, scholarly character will have a better result than a dum-dum like the Highwayman. And then we come into the next room, and as you can see on the map, our torch has moved to this position, and these guys have started to open up on us. They hit us with a debuff that reduced our dodge rating, and in this group, the enemy, the first enemy here, takes up 2 slots. So they're actually taking up the first 3 slots in the area. If we use our AoE skill, it will hit both of them, but it will only do damage to this unit once. So it doesn't hit him twice, which is too bad. We are going to use Open Vein instead to hopefully apply a bleed to him, which did work, and it helped. Then we're going to use Stunning Blow from Renaud to delay his action. So he won't be able to act this turn. He resisted the stun. That is a real pisser. He hit us with an attack that caused some stress, and we'll get into stress later. It's not really a concern right now. As is, we could use pistol shot here. I think we want to continue to get the brigand down. That was a great crit. Nice job, buddy. Blanket fire again could apply a debuff. It does, reduces their dodge. It doesn't stack, so Demos is no worse off than he was. Again, we're gonna stunning blow this guy. I might be able to kill him if Renaud hits. It's an 85% chance to hit. You know what? Let's just do it. All right, good. Now, here is a new feature that has been added over the course of early access that I'm not super familiar with: corpses. When you kill an enemy, they leave behind a corpse that still takes up the space they did, and it'll slowly degrade. And it creates kind of a tactical puzzle for you. So again, we can't deal with this guy right away because the corpses, he can still shoot, for example. Like if we had forced him forward, he couldn't fire his gun in the same way that Renaud can't fire his gun when he's in the first row, if you see how his ability works. So, we're going to go ahead and shoot him, though, because he is far enough back for us to shoot. It also causes us a problem with Renaud, because Renaud can't reach him. So the only thing Renaud can do, I can activate Bulwark of Faith, which increases Renaud's defense and marks him, which makes him more likely to be attacked. Fortunately, he used an AoE skill, so it didn't much matter. Demos is in serious trouble. He is bleeding to death. If we do not finish this off quick, he will die. So he survived. We picked up some extra stuff, and we'll take it. And our quest is over. We can click Return to Hamlet, or we can click Continue Adventuring. It's almost always best to click Continue Adventuring because, we didn't interact with this treasure chest yet. So we're going to do that, but before we do, we're going to eat some food with Demos because he's low on health. And we can use this torch. You see up here, 76% light? We can click this. That's what increases the light. It's, I think, 25 light per torch. And it'll go down over time. And it affects how much stress you are earning. Let's go ahead and have Demos open this treasure chest. It's a bandit's treasure chest. Something doesn't quite look right with it, but there's not much we can do about it. So now I've changed my mind, and we're going to have Renaud interact with it. And it was trapped. So he got blighted. It actually looks like he resisted the blight, and we got nothing out of it. If we would have gotten holy water from at some point during this adventure, we actually would have been able to use that on the bandit's chest to cleanse its curse. But yeah, we didn't. So that's not really an option. So now we're done. We get a little victory screen here, gives us the details of our adventure. And this was just the simple introductory adventure. After each adventure, there's a chance that your characters can pick up traits, and they can either be positive or negative. So we click on the little tragedy comedy faces to see. And alright, Renaud picked up Mankind Hater. So he gets a damage bonus versus humans, but he also gets a stress damage penalty from humans. So when he's fighting humans, he actually will take more stress, but he will be able to kill them faster. Demos, quick draw, he's faster speed on the first round, but he's got slow draw, so he's got slower speed on the first round. Alright, well, okay. Shit happens, I guess. Now, we will return to our home base. Our caretaker kind of gives us a list of what we have to accomplish. And this is kind of overwhelming at the moment. We don't have a ton of choices. And help options, whatever. This is our graveyard. When we have heroes that die, this will be where we can go to see who they were. No one died in our opening tutorial, which is sometimes not the case. You can lose both Renaud and Demos. Then we go to the stagecoach. Stagecoach is where we hire new people. And we picked up a plague doctor and a Vestal, and I'm almost 100% sure that's guaranteed, that that's what you'll get if both Demos and Renaud survive. You will always get a plague doctor and a Vestal. Now, let's customize these guys a little bit. We can change their colors by clicking the color palette in the lower left, and we can change their names. So this will be Lag, named after my housemate who always plays a warlock. And then let's look at what abilities we got, because there are 7 abilities. You get 4 of them. So we got Noxious Blast, which is a ranged attack that targets one target, and it looks like it applies a blight. 4 points of damage for 3 rounds. That's actually pretty damn powerful. Plague Grenade is an AoE. Hits the last 2 spots, so when we're fighting 4 enemies, that can be a very powerful ability. Blinding Gas again, hits both of the back 2 rows, and will stun both units, or has the chance to at the very least. And we have Battlefield Medicine, which is a heal that also cures Blight and Bleed, and it also cures Blight and Bleed on yourself when you use it, so that's very effective. We missed out on Incision, which is a melee attack in case we get shoved to the front row, Emboldening Vapors, which is a buff, and Disorientating Blast, which is a little bit more versatile of a stun, but it is a single target. Alright, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Let's take a look at our Vestal. We will change their name to Kinna, after my second housemate, who is often a priest and a brilliant healer. Okay, I didn't look, by the way, at Lag's quirks. Warren Scrounger, so a bonus scouting chance when we're exploring the Warrens, which is, I think, the second area. Unholy Slayer, bonus damage when fighting unholy enemies. Satanophobia, stress damage when fighting unholy. So this has become kind of a problem for us. We have units who are strong against certain types of enemies, but also get stressed out by them, which is weird. Then, Natural Swing, +5 accuracy. Dud Hitter, minus crit if low on health, and Fear of Mankind, stress damage versus humans, also accuracy penalty versus humans. That stinks. Looks like we got all manner of healing related stuff. Divine Grace is single target heal. Divine Comfort is an AoE heal for the whole party. And Illumination looks like it does a little bit of damage, and it will also increase our torch And then Dazzling Light also gives us Torch and is a stun. So not bad. And as you can see in the combat skills, right above the combat skills, it shows preferred position and preferred target. So that helps you kind of decide how to build your party. And that's what we're going to do now. We have one more area here, the Ancestors' Memoirs. That's just rewatching cutscenes that you have seen so far. Kind of shows everything and how you unlock it. So there's quite a bit of cutscenes coming up. Let us embark on our first quest. We only have two options. One, we could go to the darkest dungeon, which would probably not be a good idea. It's designed for a full party of level 6. It's the hardest dungeon in the game. Can't imagine you're supposed to dive in there on your first run. So, but you do get all sorts of special stuff. Alright, well, who cares about that? The estate map leading us to the ruins is probably where we want to go. It's a short mission. It's for apprentice level 1s, which is what we are, and our goals are to explore 90% of the rooms. So let's build our party. We only have 4 units, so all we're really doing here is deciding what order they're in. So let's do that, and then we enter provisions. This is a pretty important part of Darkest Dungeon. When you enter an area, you want to be have stuff, and certain units bring things with them. I believe I forget how this works. Maybe they only do it the first time. I'm not even sure how this works, to be honest. But the Vestal may bring with this holy water. It may be the Crusader who's bringing the holy water. And then the Plague Doctor is bringing the anti-venom. So, but in general, for provisions, you gotta buy them. You spend your resources, giving them to this kindly gentleman in the provision store. And then the hope is that you will earn enough money that you kind of compensate for it. We will need food. This is a short mission, so I'm going to take 3 sets of food, just in case we need it. I'm going to take 2 shovels because we're in the ruins, and it's pretty common to encounter piles of rubble, and if you have to clear those out by hands, it stresses out your party. And then I'm going to take... You know what? I'm going to take 2 keys. And hopefully that works out for me. If I get a key in here, I'll be a little bit sad. The other thing you definitely need are torches. I'm gonna take a couple extra. So again, this is a short mission, so it shouldn't be like a real problem. But keeping our torches high is probably good, unless we want to experience some of the more dark related things to the game. The lower the light is, the harder the game becomes. It's kind of a self-imposed difficulty setting. If we keep our torches bright, we have a higher chance of surprising the enemies, and we also have a higher chance of kind of uncovering the map and being ready for things. So in our first room, we got 100% light, and we're heading to our second room. The map here is in the lower right, and as you can see, we can explore 90% of these rooms. We can skip one if we want. Stress will start to build as we explore. First, we encounter this torch, and also since I just did this with a different audio setting that didn't work out for me, I'm starting to suspect that actually this first dungeon is not particularly random. Alright, in the first room we encounter a couple of enemies. We could use AoE. I think we're going to use AoE to whittle them down. Demot's got a really strong shot there. Noxious Blast really seems like the best option here. Gives him a blight. No one's done anything. I guess we'll Dazzling Light. Okay, well that finished that off pretty easily. And... Alright, we got a miss from Renauld, but the blight took care of it, so not really an issue. And then we have an unlocked strongbox. It doesn't really imply that there's any danger there, so we'll go ahead and take whatever's in it. It included a shovel, a bust, and gold. The busts are part of like your family heirlooms, and those are used to rebuild your estate. We are going to progress to the second room. We didn't get any scouting. Our torch is at 76. Let's go ahead and light that up. Get a little bit more.
The path is clear.
And we encountered the rubble. Go ahead and dig it out with a shovel. I don't think there's any benefit to a particular unit being the digger. The enemy surprised us this time, which reorganizes our group, which can be a real pain in the butt. Since there's 3 targets, Grapeshot Blast seems like the best choice as long as it doesn't miss, and it did not. Our Plague Doctor cannot do anything, so we're just going to slide back a spot. Again, no one's hurt, so there's no reason to heal. We can use Dazzling Light. Let's stun the guy in the back, hopefully. Alright, we did successfully stun him. So, when a unit is stunned, their action is taken up unstunning themselves, like that guy did. And then he also gets a debuff, or a buff rather, that gives him stun resistance that lasts for a round. So you can't just stun lock enemies forever. We're going to use Zealous Accusation, since it's also an AoE when these guys are wounded already.
Continue the onslaught.
Good, good.
Destroy them all.
We can Noxious Blast. Doesn't seem like a bad call here, but apparently we can only use that in the front row. So, alright, we'll blight that guy, which should actually finish him off entirely. Like he's gonna die at the start of his turn, which means we can focus Demos's attack on this cultist and miss. We do have a reason to heal this turn, so let's go ahead and do that. Stressful Incantation does minimal damage, but radically increases stress. Looks like it also might have lowered our torch a bit. And the blight killing the skeleton meant its corpse no longer exists. That moved this unit forward, which allowed us to attack with our Crusader. Unfortunately, he missed. Well, thank you. Thank you for pushing the Plague Doctor back. That actually was more or less what I would have liked. We're going to use Open Vein to apply the bleed, or we're going to get a crit and then it won't matter. Fantastic. We picked up a little bit of extra food. We have limited inventory, so I'm actually going to use the extra food we got, just get a little bit of healing out instead of saving it just in case people get hungry. Our torch is low, so we're going to use a torch. Yeah, okay. And that helps us just in case we get jumped by monsters, or in hopes we get scouting. And we did get a scouting bonus. So it tells us in the next room what's here. So this room has a battle and a curio. And this room has a battle with treasure. So they're both good rooms, so we should definitely hit up both of them as we progress through the game here, or through the dungeon. We'll jump in this hallway first. We have a curio partway through the room. And no battles. And we can search the pack. Inside the pack, we get an extra key and some gold. So again, we'll be able to unlock treasure chests when we encounter them. Our light is low. We are going to relight it with the torch so that we can hopefully surprise the enemies that are in this room. We did not surprise them. They're going to start stressing out our units. Demos is going to use Grape Shot because there are 3 targets and I just like spreading out that damage. Good hit. He resisted the debuff, resisted the bleed. I'm going to use Noxious Blast on the front unit. And the crit reduces our stress a little bit. I actually am going to use Illumination to stun the back unit. Does more damage than I expected it to. Renaud takes another hit. It is now his turn, though. We're going to use Zealous Accusation. And with any luck, this is going to lower...
Their formation is broken.
Well, right then. That did, again, way more damage than I expected it to. Demos then can use his pistol
As the
to
fiend
finish
falls,
that guy off. Okay, so they died a lot easier than I expected, and I guess I can't complain about that. We'll light up the
match
room.
is struck.
We're going to have Demos
star
open
is
this
born.
heirloom chest, and we'll use a skeleton key on it, which gives us bonuses, which included some extra food. And again, we're limited inventory, so we're going to use the extra food to get health back on our units. And then we're going to head to the next area. Looks like we did get a little bit of scouting here because we can see there's a trap in these two areas. So we're going to want to be concerned about that. DMAS, and we'll as we approach the trap here, I'll point out. There it is. So, disarming traps, I will explain. Different characters have a different chance of success. So, for example... Oh, shit. So, I didn't even see where the trap percentages were. But it was showing up somewhere, and I completely missed it on the UI. Anyway, Demos has the highest chance as the highwayman. So I got very lucky that that worked. We'll have another trap in the next room, so we can show it off. I let my torch go down. Hopefully we don't get jumped. We did not get jumped. Let's head to the next room. I'm going to backtrack. Oh, we got scouting again. That's very helpful. Alright. So we're going to have a curio and an obstacle. There's a room battle with treasure down there. We're going to go this way. There is a trap. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there... mouse over the little purple thing under them. So 60% chance, 50% chance, 60% chance, or 90% chance. So Demos is far and away the best choice. And it reduces his stress a little. Excuse me, got the hiccups all of a sudden. We will keep our torches high, which clears up an inventory space, which will be good if we find anything. In this room, we do have a battle, and yeah, that looks nice. So we surprised them, which is awesome. We can either play grenade or we can noxious blast. Let's... Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play grenade even though it only hits the one
Masterfully
unit.
executed.
Because Demos's attack will hit all three of them. And Renauld is only going to hit the first two. I can finish off probably this unit with illumination, leaving just the one unit. I thought he was stunned, but I guess he was just surprised still. Alright, and then Demos can use his pistol. Did not finish the job, but our priest will do it.
As
Okay,
the light
well,
gains purchase,
can't
spirits
complain
are
there.
and purpose is made
And
clear.
we picked up a little bit of stuff. We have a holy fountain. And, I mean, what would you put in a holy fountain but holy water, right? So let's do that. And that's a major heal there for Demos. So that worked out pretty well for us. We can then kind of backtrack here. There is a curio in this hallway that we missed. It might be worth grabbing that. We got plenty of supplies, so there's no reason not to right now. So as we go through this room, yeah, there we go. Oh, gonna back up a little bit so the party can reach it. And a little bit more holy water, a little bit more food. Lots of extra food. Does anyone need health? 24, 24, 21 to 22, 22, 29 to 33. Alright. 31. We'll just eat a little bit more. Now we're going to backtrack here. Our light is still very good. We're just going to go back to this door so that we don't have to walk through that whole area twice. And bring the map up again. Map set. Yeah, alright. So we haven't explored everything. That's still a little bit gray. Oh, hunger. So hunger event, we have to eat. If we don't eat, then everyone takes 20% damage and stress. So that's why you always need to make sure you have at least, you know, multiples of 4 food. We can go ahead and boost up our torch a little bit.
The promise of safety.
And nothing much going on in this room, which we knew. And we head to the next area. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So apparently he just picked up the kleptomaniac skill. I don't remember seeing him having that before. That's important. Known cheat. Oh no, that's the wrong guy. God-fearing kleptomaniac. I don't remember him having that. Maybe he did and I just don't remember. Important to not have those units. I don't know if it automatically happens or if it's a higher chance if you have the units selected when you approach something that plays off of their quirks.
In Radiance, may we
I regret
victory.
I regret that. Okay, apparently there was... Oh, we're done with our quest. We're going to continue adventuring. We have one more room to explore. There was nothing in this room, but the last room has a treasure chest in it, so I would like to get that. If things had been going badly, we could have escaped.
Stone seems bent on preventing passage.
And we'll light a torch to make sure things remain bright. Hopefully get the drop on these enemies. It is a full group. We did surprise them. This is going to work out real well. We're going to use Grape Shot to kind of wound everybody. And then we're going to use Plague Grenade to blight the guys in the back. We're going to use Dazzling Light, I think. No. Oh, that's a stun. This is not a stun, but it does damage. How do I want to go about this? Let's use Dazzling Light to stun their front row, just to limit his actions. We'll do some AoE here with Renault.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
And with any luck, Demos will be able to take a little bit of damage, but we'll be able to finish off... darn, Alright, we're going to use Noxious Blast on the front row.
The ground quakes.
Fantastic. He also got a crit, which isn't great, but... okay, so 90... pretty good shot that... Let's stun this guy in the back. Demos is probably going to finish off this guy in the middle. Good. And then that frees up Renault to finish off their front row. We just have the Archer remaining, who Blight has almost completely taken care of. We actually don't have to do anything. We could just hang out here. But we'll do Tracking Shot. And that's that. We've taken everything. We can open up this. We can use our key. Get some extra heirlooms. And that's that. Nothing else left to explore in there, so we'll head back home. And we'll count out all our victory objects. And mostly all this stuff kind of disappears. It becomes whatever monetary value it has. So it's best to kind of plan your trip appropriately so that you bring the right amount of supplies, so you don't waste money. It looks like 2 of our units will get new quirks. Lag first gets Slugger. Damage bonus for melee skills. Alright, well, that's pretty great. You have no melee skills. Renaud is becoming quite quirky indeed. He has a Last Gasp, +1 speed if his health is low, and Sidiomania, obsessed with food. Alright, if you say so. I've never heard of that before. So, let's return home. go to the hamlet, and we'll do just a little bit of maintenance here before we wrap up the video.
You'll know the tragic
Again,
extent of my failings.
this is kind of the caretaker goals are a little bit unnecessary at the moment. We're slowly unlocking the feat. This is the Abbey, and this is the tavern. We use these to reduce stress. So as you can see, stress is persistent. Kinna got very stressed out in the last dungeon, and so if we take her on the next dungeon, it's possible that this will reach maximum, which can be very bad for us. The first thing we want to check out is our stagecoach to recruit more members. We did pick up an arbalist and a bounty hunter. Neither of those characters are healers, so we are almost certainly going to have to take Kinna with us on our next mission to avert any disaster, but in itself it may create disaster. So I am going to think about how I want to rename these characters, and we will continue on in the next episode. I thank you very much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button. You can subscribe to the channel to be notified when new episodes are going live. You can contact me on Twitter at itsboats if you'd like, and we will catch you on the next one. I am going to make this kind of a pillar of my channel going forward. It's going to be XCOM also in February, and Darkest Dungeon, and then we'll continue to do news about Final Fantasy XIV, and maybe every once in a while we will cover other things with a review in the Indie Inbox. But for now, look forward to more Darkest Dungeon. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great day.